Here are the most recent deaths in the national news as reported at Legacy.com in the third week of October 2025. Visit Legacy.com to read the full obituaries for most of the people featured in this video and leave your own condolences on their Legacy page. Journalist Susan Stamberg died October 16, 2025 at the age of 87. She was one of the founding mothers of NPR, joining the public broadcasting organization before it even launched and remaining with it for more than 50 years. Stamberg is being remembered as one of the first women to host a national news broadcast as the co-anchor of All Things Considered in the 1970s and 80s. Musician Sam Rivers died October 18, 2025 at the age of 48. He was the founding bassist for Limp Bizkit, the high-energy nu metal band that had hits like Rearranged, Rollin', and My Way. Rivers is being remembered for his powerful bass lines that drove the band's signature blend of rap and rock music. A note to remember, sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Actress Samantha Eggar died October 15, 2025 at her home in Sherman Oaks, California at the age of 86. She starred alongside Terrence Stamp in the 1965 thriller The Collector. She won a Golden Globe Award and was nominated for an Oscar for her performance as a kidnapped young woman. Eggar is also being remembered for starring in the 1979 horror film The Brood, as well as for a recurring role on All My Children and a guest spot on Star Trek The Next Generation. Scientist Chen Ning Yang died October 18, 2025 in Beijing at the age of 103. He shared the 1957 Nobel Prize in Physics for groundbreaking discoveries about the asymmetrical nature of the universe. He and his research partner were the first Chinese Nobel laureates. Yang is also being remembered as a longtime professor at New York's Stony Brook University, where he founded the Institute for Theoretical Physics. Chess grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky died October 19, 2025 at the age of 29. He became a world youth chess champion when he was just 11 years old, and by the age of 18 he had become a grandmaster, playing impressively in tournaments around the world. Naroditsky is being remembered for streaming his games of blitz chess on YouTube and Twitch, teaching enthusiasts his winning techniques. Football player Doug Martin died October 18, 2025 at the age of 36. He died in police custody. An exact cause of death has not been announced. Martin's family released a statement that he had a history of mental illness and was experiencing an acute episode at the time of his death. He was a running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In 2012, he was a finalist for Rookie of the Year, and he was a two-time Pro Bowl pick. Martin is also being remembered for his college career at Boise State University, where he was a team great and a fan favorite. Mixed martial arts coach Duke Roufus died October 17, 2025 in his sleep at the age of 55. After his own successful kickboxing career, he became a coach to mixed martial artists, including champions like Anthony Pettis and Jens Pulver. Roufus is being remembered as a UFC legend whose influence resonates across the sport. Football player Warren McVea died October 18, 2025 after a long illness. He was 79. He was a running back for the Cincinnati Bengals and Kansas City Chiefs, winning Super Bowl IV with them in 1970. He was affectionately nicknamed the Flea for his ability to evade defenders. McVea is also being remembered for breaking the color barrier as the first black player for the University of Houston Cougars. Bass guitarist Anthony Jackson died October 19, 2025 after a battle with Parkinson's disease. He was 73. He created the classic bass line that kicked off the OJ's For the Love of Money, later used as the theme song for The Apprentice TV series. He also played on Billy Paul's #1 hit Me and Mrs. Jones and records for dozens of other artists, including Roberta Flack and Chaka Khan. Jackson is also being remembered as the inventor of the 6-string contrabass guitar, which expanded the musical range. There are still a few more celebrity tributes, but first, let me just say that some of the most remarkable obituaries we saw this week at Legacy weren't for celebrities, but for everyday people like you and me. Those include this former U.S. Marine reconnaissance officer who went on to become a top executive at Taco Bell and other nationwide food companies. This Pennsylvania teacher who was also a naturalist, a watercolor painter, a gardener, a Bible group leader, and a beloved wife and mother. And this 96-year-old Minnesota matriarch whose amazing life story began as one of 14 siblings in a rural Alabama family. Read all their life stories at Legacy.com, where any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 10 years ago this week, actress Maureen O'Hara died at the age of 95. She was a major star of classic Hollywood, known for such movies as Miracle on 34th Street, How Green Was My Valley, and The Quiet Man. 20 years ago this week, activist Rosa Parks died at the age of 92. She was a giant of the civil rights movement, beloved for her quiet act of nonviolent protest that helped spark nationwide change. 25 years ago this week, actress and dancer Gwen Verdon died at the age of 75. She was a Broadway great who originated roles in classic shows like Damn Yankees, Sweet Charity, and Chicago. Musician and songwriter Tom Petty was born 75 years ago this week. He died in October 2017 at the age of 66. His many hit singles as a solo artist and with the Heartbreakers include Don't Do Me Like That, Free Fallin', and You Don't Know How It Feels. TV host Johnny Carson was born 100 years ago this week. He died in January 2005 at the age of 79. He became synonymous with late-night television when he hosted The Tonight Show for 30 years, from 1962 to 1992. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Maryland have been lowered to honor the memory of former Secretary of the Department of General Services and Department of Human Resources, Alvin C. Collins. Flags in Ohio have been lowered to honor the memory of State Highway Patrol Trooper Nicholas P. Caton. Flags in Tennessee have been lowered to honor the memory of the victims of the tragic explosion that occurred in Hickman County. Flags in Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of former state legislator, the Honorable Wyatt B. Durrett, Jr. Flags in Maryland have also been lowered to honor the memory of Delegate Charles J. Otto. Flags in Michigan have been lowered to honor the memory of former state legislator Don Quavisto and former Congresswoman Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick. Flags in Florida have been lowered to honor the memory of Lee County Commissioner Mike Greenwell. Flags in West Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of former delegate Don Perdue. Flags in California have been lowered to honor the memory of La Mesa Police Department officer Lauren Craven, who died in the line of duty. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.